Hey everyone, I am Patrick Shaka, editor-in-chief of Yachting Magazine. I am here today with Richard Ford, CEO and founder of Horizon Power Catamarans. And what we're here to talk about today is a technology that Richard showed us on his yachts that will just make your boating better. It will give you autonomy, more self-sufficiency, and overall just make it a better experience for everyone. So good morning, Richard.
Morning, Patrick. How are you?
Good to see you again, sir. So we had the opportunity, and we're going to show it shortly, of the technology that we're about to discuss in action on board the boat you're on right now. So in brief, could you kind of describe the technology, how it will make boating better, and how you came about using it?
So to summarize, we're striving for, quiet cruising. What we mean by quiet cruising is to be able to go to an anchorage and not have to run your generator all the time. You gather on the aft deck and that hum of the generator, and it's a diesel engine. There are fumes. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable. So there's a couple of new innovative pieces of equipment that allow us to do multiple hours at anchor without the generator running. First off, it is the Victron battery system, which is a lithium phosphate battery system, an LiPo4, which is a very stable platform that allows you to rapidly discharge and rapidly charge your bank of batteries. And you get a lot more amperage. So for instance, on our boats, we standard put 1200 amp hours of this phosphate battery, and that's a true 1200 amp hours. Unlike AGMs that you can really only drain to 50%, 55%, and your voltage is already down below 24 volts. Here, you maintain 25.5 volts until you have 2% left in your battery. Now, that's very similar to your cell phone. If you think about your cell phone, it works and then it suddenly switches off. So that's the same technology that we're using. Now, because you're now running off batteries, one must then think about how do we conserve power or achieve what we want consuming less power. And the biggest draw aboard the boat is clearly your air conditioning. So cruising the Bahamas, South Florida, air conditioning is a big issue. And we have partnered with Thermodynamica that produce a variable speed compressor sending Freon to air handlers around the boat. Chilling Freon rather than chilled water is that much more efficient. And a key factor to this is when you are cooling the airspace with a chilled water system, the coils are forever sweating, and so you naturally suspend moisture in the air. Now, if you walk into a room that has a humidity of 70% or 80%, and it's 78 degrees in the room, it's going to feel warm. Whereas if you walk into a room and it's 78 degrees and the humidity is at 40%, it's going to seem really cool. So you don't have to drop your temperature as much, so the equipment doesn't work as hard. And because it doesn't work so hard, you're now conserving your batteries. Now, there's a number of other factors that come into play. We use V-Cool on the windows. That's a very good non-obstructive film that kicks back 98% of the UV and like 90% of the heat. So the inside of the boat stays cooler. We have built the yachts with incredible insulation. Divinycell foam is the core structure throughout our boat. We then also In the heated areas around the boat, install foam like you do in a house where they inject foam on the underneath of your roof. We already do that. That again conserves the energy. So it's all of those factors. Then you look at your appliances. Appliances naturally now are becoming more efficient, but you can go to the extra level. We now put on a Miele speed oven. Takes a quarter of the time to roast that chicken or the turkey at Thanksgiving. If people are comfortable with propane, like I am on board this boat, we've got a propane cooktop. So none of those have a draw requirement on the generator that you used to have. And it just multiples out the quiet cruising time. So then you also have means to recharge the batteries. And obviously, the beauty of lithium phosphate is it allows you to rapidly recharge. So for instance, on the 2 inverter quattros, those are chargers as well. So the minute you start your generator, you can put 400 amps back into the batteries. So on a 1200 amp hour, you have 3 hours and you've completely recharged from zero. And you're not going to take it down to zero. We have an automated restart of the generator at 20%. So you're looking at about 2.5 hours and the batteries are completely recharged. Then you go back into quiet living. If you're moving the boat, we've installed really nice sizable alternators on the main engines. So the days of you having to run your generator while you're running your boat are over. You arrive at your destination where it's full. And then also you have solar. And that's the freest and the cheapest once you've installed it, because the sun usually shines pretty much every day. And so you can top it up. You can't run the entire boat off solar. A lot of people say, run the boat off solar. No. All you're doing is you're filling that swimming pool of the batteries with solar as well. So there's 3 main sources of recharging that bank of batteries.
And so you can manage the hotel loads.
Oh, very much so. So I can be running my water maker. I can be all the fridges, ice makers, all of the creature comforts that we have aboard. And we have chest freezers, dual drinks fridges, 48 bottle wine coolers, Miele household fridge and dual freezer. You name it, we got it. And it all runs off the house. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were out in Bimini. It was 85 degrees outside and humid. We were running the air conditioning, and I was getting 20 hours of quiet cruising before I re-fired up the generator.
Right, and that's a good point, is that you can stay away from the dock longer and more comfortably.
Without a doubt.
To that end, we actually got to see the system in action a few weeks ago. So what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to take a look at the demonstration that Richard showed us on how this system works. So stay tuned, take a look, and we'll see you on the other side.
The 68 next door only arrived on
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So we haven't done the solar panels yet, and the alternators and what have you. So I wanted to demonstrate, because this has all been commissioned. So we're back to our Victron phosphate management system. So you can have a source of a shore power or a generator to supply these inverter chargers. But they're really clever little things. In the past, equipment like the magnetrons in your microwaves and other sensitive equipment, when you went from inverter to shore power or to generator, it was just a switchover. And the sine wave wasn't, you could have hit it like that. So you get these little spikes and you have weird things happening inside your boat. Well, yet another feature of this Victron package is it waits until the sine wave is completely married, and then it switches from inverter to generator or shore power. So we have a way to charge our batteries and run the boat only on batteries, we have a way to run the boat on the generator or the shore power. You then have an additional feature which comes to being able to reduce the size of the generator, because the Victron system has an assist mode. So for instance, as you all know, a normal 50 amp cord coming in from the dock, 230 volts, 50 amps gives you 50 amps of power. Some of the boats, not this one, because I've got again, we're going to talk a little bit about the air conditioning system. That's one of the biggest draws on a boat is the air conditioning. So we have switched over to a product from Thermodynamica. They're an Italian company that have produced a variable speed compressor. So remember all the old Domestics, it's either on 100% or if it's off. Okay? And you've got these huge surge kick-ins, which inverters don't like. So you've heard, we put a soft start on our air conditioning. Oh, that's just a Band-Aid. Now we have an air conditioning system where we had two boats on the dock, identical 60s. The one had the old Dometic system, chilled water loop, whatever, and the other had the new system. The old boat was drawing 35 to 38 amps, okay, at 230 volts. The new system was drawing 9. So you have almost quartered the amount of power that you need. So that's a very important part of this quiet living. What I want to demonstrate first of all is I have a control pad here where I've regulated what comes from the shore. So I've told the system, I'm only going to give you 35 amps. Okay? So whatever is happening on the boat, I'm only ever drawing 35 amps from the shore. Why, you may say, why would we do that? Well, if you have to leave your boat in Florida somewhere or in the Bahamas and fly home for a week, previously you'd be really worried about losing shore power and your freezers, blow out. How many times have we had to change a new fridge or a freezer? Okay? Well, here, that's a thing of the past, because one, I'm not going to trip the dock because I'm only ever going to draw 35 amps. If the house requirement needs more than 35 amps, it automatically just assists. So for that short period of time, like if the oven is on, or there's hair dryers, or the washer dryer is running, and you happen to go over the 35 amps, the Victron inverter takes the difference, the delta, out of the batteries until you come back down to 35, and then it starts charging again. And it's all seamless. Right? So I'm going to demonstrate it first. We got to be using, I don't know, at least, what do we say? I'm using, from the shore, I'm using 32 amps, okay? To keep the flybridge cold, all the air conditioning, and every single light on this boat is on. I'm now going to turn this little guy down to 20 amps. All right? And because we're drawing more from the shore, the boat needs more than just 20 amps. Again, take it down. Okay, so I just cut the shore power off. All right. But anything happen? Yeah. And now it's saying I'm inverting. So it's turned the shore power off. No data coming from the shore power, and it's inverting. So the entire system is running the air conditioning. Let's turn this air conditioning down the more. You can hear that air conditioning red not far up. And this is all. Every single light on this boat is on. I've got the fridges on, the ice makers. Like we're living. The only thing we're not using is the oven. And I certainly wouldn't have them with this many lights on. And if we're down here, I would have turned the flybridge AC off. But as the boat sits right now, my air conditioning is using 5 amps. 5. Another boat without it would be using 35. All right? That's one big thing. Then second of all, we've up now to drawing, the way we're sitting right now, we are drawing nearly 4.5 kilowatts out of the batteries, which is 170 amps. So we're drawing out 170 amps out of the batteries right to run the whole boat. And it's telling me that if I stayed at this, it didn't fluctuate, because obviously the compressor will slow down when this room reaches 66 degrees, which is what I've asked it to do. The compressor will slow down, and the amount of time you have left before you've got to go on generator will increase. But right now, it says I can run like this for 5 hours. All right, just sucking this, much as we can. So I'll wait for the salon to cool down and demonstrate some more. I have 2 other features that we can now do. The monitoring side of the Victron package is truly remarkable. So from my computer, we've got that other crazy South African, Elon Musk, who gives us a really nice Starlink. And then we have Starlink on this boat. So I can go down to my Victron homepage. And I can completely monitor, not just my boat, all of the other boats that have this system on it. So here, if I pull into our boat of Synergy, I've got this exact thing on my computer, and I can be anywhere in the world. I can be Taiwan at the factory, and I can start the generator remotely. I can check. It's telling me that I've got a GPS that tells me exactly where the boat is and whether it's moving or not. I have sensors, which are wireless sensors, all the way out of the fridge, the little hockey puck. In the fridge and in the chest freezer on the flybridge, I have tiny little white sensors. That tells me exactly my temperature in my fridge right now is 3.3 degrees C. Okay. It's telling me that I'm on shore power, the generator's stopped, I'm at 94.2% on my battery state of charge, and that's what I'm drawing. And there's what the solar's putting in. So I can monitor, start and stop the generator from my office. I did it to a client the other day. They were sitting in Shroud Key. I said, hold on, let me see if I can turn your generator on. He goes, what? And blow me, he's sitting on the off the generator file. Was that you, Richard? So, gone are the days of ruining food in the freezers and fridges.
So, Richard, we just saw how the system works, and it is a really impressive system. But the question is, where is this technology going to go?
Well, so we've had it in our yachts now for 5 years, and have over 12 of the boats have it. And so it's a very stable platform. But where this is going is it's slowly allowing us to reduce the size of your generator. It has completely eliminated the need for a second generator. And where it's going in a couple of years is changing from your AC generator to a 48-volt DC generator. It's far smaller, quieter, uses less fuel, and air conditioning units and equipment that start on 48 volts, you can imagine it reduces your wire size because you're not running as many amps down the line. So you don't need the wire to be as thick. So you save on weight, you save on money, you save on energy. So, I see boats in 2 to 3 years' time that have a small 48 volt DC generator purring along that you hardly even hear or know it's on. And the air conditioning units become even more efficient when they are run at 48 volts. So, yeah, and then with alternators on your main engine, it could be argued that you can even get rid of the DC generator, because you've got a big alternator on two engines that is already in your boat.
Sure. and this system is offered on all of your new boats.
Yeah, so now from 2024, well, we sold out till the middle of 2025, but finally all of the owners have chosen to go with the Victron phosphate system, and the thermodynamic air conditioning system is standard in the boats, and all of the new orders now are a standard Victron system.
Just out of curiosity, you talk about these new owners. Was it the quietude? Was it the reduced dependence on generators and diesel? What is it that is driving them to ask for this?
Yeah, once you've lived and experienced the boat without these generators and the newer air conditioning systems, it's a game changer, a big game changer. I mean, there are some other very important things that we've done in the evolution of the boat. Certainly on our 60s and the 68, where we have re-looked at the engineering and with assistance from ZF have come up with a larger reduction on the gearbox. Utilization of the new Veeam propellers from Australia, which is a 5-blade propeller. And then the coupling with MAN and their new 800 or 850 horsepower engine. The boat is, as my owners have said, it's like being on a completely different boat. This lower reduction on the gearbox has allowed us to up the pitch on the prop. You're turning the prop slightly slower. So, it's not rattling around as much. It's a quieter ride. It's a way smoother ride. And the boat is not susceptible to weight changes. So, for instance, if you think about it, a PC60 that has only 20% fuel in it and 20% water, you're adding 6 tons going to full. Well, 6 tons, the immersion ratio is half an inch a ton. So, you've immersed the boat by 3 inches. That's a big wetted surface area and resistance. But these new engines and the new reduction on the gearbox, you don't even feel it. You're still cruising along at 19, 20, 21 knots, whatever you want, topping at 25. So that's another big game changer.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Richard, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for explaining this new Victron system and how it can make quiet cruising for everyone. And stay tuned for more, because more is coming. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Patrick.